I tried a new face wash and I would not recommend it. Oh my goodness. It totally and completely, I had a bad reaction like crazy, but I thought what a perfect opportunity to come before you and show you how to completely hide all of this mess, okay? So, we are going to get started. If you look on your color wheel, you will notice, let me grab mine. I always talk about the color wheel, but it was a post so long ago. You can get this at any craft store, okay? And what I use this for, lots of different things, but today we want to know I have redness, obviously, on my face, and I want to know what's going to counteract that, what's going to hide that. Go directly across, and you'll see that green will counteract that. And what I'm using is my Makeup Forever palette. I use this all the time. I love it. However, a cheaper, because this is $30-something, a cheaper version would be a stick from CoverGirl, which is only about $5.99. The only difference I'm noticing with the two is that one's drier than the other. So the CoverGirl stick I would use with moisturizer. This one I can just use on its own, okay? Now I got this all along my jawline, and then a lot of it came up here, which was really terrible. Yeah, I've been living with this for about a week now, and my husband's like, well, why don't you do a tutorial on it instead of not doing any tutorials at all until it's all gone? I said, ooh, what a good idea. So I take my green, and I like to pat it in instead of smearing it in the areas that really need concentration. Right here you get a little bit of redness anyway by being a woman, and that I kind of rub in a little bit differently. I never use this underneath my eyes. And then pat that because I really want a good concentration, okay? This is not to completely cover them up, but this is to take away a lot of redness. This also works if you, let's say, one time I had pictures coming up and I had a sunburn. Oh boy, did I use all of my green to cover it up. Okay. So just keep going anywhere and everywhere that you have redness from these blemishes. And once you have your green on, you look a little bit like Elphaba from Wicked. I wish that my camera could pick this up a little bit better. Anyway, the next step is not to use a concealer that matches your face now, but to use your foundation that matches your face. So go ahead and grab your foundation. I'll be using my Chanel Matte Lumiere. And you'll be using a little bit more than you normally would because we're going to use that same patting motion in the spots where you have patted on the green. This is where I have it the worst. I wonder if I pulled you closer you could see it. Nope, not really. I'll do the same technique tomorrow and take a before and after picture so you can see. You're done with that step. That should have mostly taken all of your skin back to its natural color. But now we will be taking our camo palette, and depending on how tan you are, just find the one that matches your skin the best. Not a slightly lighter color, but try to go more toward the slightly, like a hair darker than your natural color. Okay? And if you need help at knowing where to put those things, go ahead and go to my contouring video and that will tell you about it. And again, so as not to rub away the makeup that you've already put in there, use that same patting technique that you did with the green, okay? I told you I don't use that Makeup Forever Camo palette underneath my eyes because it's not formulated to go underneath your eyes, as well as the Select Moisture Cover from MAC. This doesn't tug. It's amazing. And I love the coverage that it gives. I'm using mine in NW20. And because when I have blemishes and I really, really want to hide them well, I don't use a brush to put on my powder. I actually use the other side of my sponge. I take my loose powder, I put it in there, and I pat it on around those areas. And usually just around those areas. The rest I'll use a brush, but in the places where I have blemishes, I like to pat that loose powder on there instead. And again, underneath the eye is such a completely different story than the rest of your face. I'm going to be using my powder flage from Benefit underneath the eye with a 224 brush. And there is your finished look as far as covering up any blemishes that you have. I wish that my camera, my actual D90 Nikon camera was working so that way you guys could have seen that a little bit better. But I promise you, if you watch this video and if you follow those steps, you will be able to mask it completely and your face will be a great canvas to go ahead and do whatever inspires you and whatever you're wanting to do without feeling like those are hindering you and hindering your look, okay? No one has to feel that way. Yeah, so there you go. Hope you like it, and I will see you next time.